Good morning to doctors. We are from group Apom Balik. Today, we will share about teaching session management in organization, strategy, structure, and culture. The purpose we choose this topic is to explore the intersection of strategy, structure, and culture in project management using real-world examples, and also to engage students and staff from multiple Malaysian universities to encourage cross-institutional learning. The importance that we choose this topic is to show that strategy alignment increase project success and impact, and also shows that culture shapes teamwork, communication, and risk tolerance. We also introduce that the different structure can influence decision making and execution speed. And we also introduce that how this element well aligned strategy, structure, culture can boost performance.
So I will continue my part, which is 2.1 explanation of the problem or topics. So the first problem is organizational struggle to align project with strategy goals. In the context of our online teaching sessions, we recognize that many students and even novice professionals lack a deep understanding of how projects are aligned with an organizational strategies. This creates confusions when working in real-life project environments. And next is a structural weakness and cultural resistance impact executions. Our teaching sessions address how unclear organizational structure and poor cultural awareness can create obstacles in executing project effectively. Something many students may not have encountered in their academic learnings. And next is we are focused on three course areas which is corporate strategies, organizational structure, and culture and stakeholder. And the first of all is corporate strategies is mean helping learning understand of how long-term goals shape project direction. And next is organizational structure, which means showing how different framework affect project coordination and rules. And last one is culture and stakeholders, highlighting the how value, behavior, and stakeholder engagement influence project outcomes. So this session was designed not only to teach theory but to bring the gap between classroom learning and practicals, organizational realities. So the next part is 2.2 relevance in project management. There is 3 points. The first point is strategy alignment, which is ensure project service long-term goals. In our teaching sessions, we emphasize that students must understand how organizational strategies drive project selections. This helps them see the project don't exist in isolation, and there are tools to achieve long-term goals. And second is structure impact, which is influence authorities, coordination, and workflow. We introduce the three main types of organizational structure, which is functional, project designs, and metrics, to show how each influence communications, resource allocations, and reporting lines. By doing so, we help students relate theory to how their future workplace may operate. And next is the cultural and stakeholder engagement. We also explain that organizational culture, which means share values and behaviors, either support or hinder project executions. Students learn that being aware for internal cultures as well as identifying and managing stakeholder is crucial in any real-world project situations. The next is 2.3 objectives of the teaching session. So we have 6 objectives, which the first is understanding strategies. Our first learning goals was to help students recognize how strategy planning works so they can better align project decision with business goals. And next is a compare organizational structure and their project impacts. We aim to give students to the ability to identify which structure and organization uses and how they impact decision making and team collaborations. And next is analyze culture influence on communication and decision. We highlight how culture can influence team dynamics, openings to charge, and overall success in project environment. Next is explore stakeholder identification and management. We try students to identify different type of stakeholders, understand their influence, and develop strategy to manage them effectively. And next is the introduce bombs and governance types. We introduce the concept of project management office to demonstrate how organizations support project success at the higher levels. And last is a apply theory through case discussion and Q&A. Lastly, we provide practical engagement via real-world example and interactive Q&A, allowing students to apply theory in simulation project context.
Now I would like to present the part of content for our teaching sessions. First is the key concept and theory. We choose the topic which is management in organization, strategy, structure, and culture because these three elements are the foundations of how organizations manage projects. Even with great tool or planning methods, if the internal system is weak, the project can still fail. Let's begin with strategy. Strategy is how a company set its long-term goals and choose the right project to achieve them. It's not just about planning, but also about making sure every project supports the organization's bigger missions. The tool we use in strategy is SWOT analysis, which help a company evaluate its internal strengths and weaknesses, as well as external opportunity and threat. Next, structure. Structure defines how roles and authority are arranged. It tells us who report to whom and how teams are built. There are three common types. First is the functional structure, where departments operate separately. Second is the project-based structure, where teams can create for specific projects. And third is the matrix structure, which combine both but require clear communications. Then we have culture. Organizational culture is about shared value, behavior, and attitudes. It affects how people work together, solve problems, and stay motivated. A strong culture supports innovations and teamwork, while a weak culture may lead to conflict and low commitment. Now let's move on why these three elements are important in real project situation. First, strategy. When projects are aligned with the company's strategy goals, they bring value and help the organization grow. But when projects go in a different direction, time and resource are easily wasted. Second, structure. A good structure helps teams communicate and coordinate more effectively. Different project types need different structure. For example, a project structure works well for fast-moving projects, but it uses more resource. A matrix structure is more flexible, but it requires clear roles to avoid confusion. Third, culture. Culture shapes how employees behave and perform in teams. If the culture promotes openness and cooperation, teams are more motivated and engaged. But if the culture is negative or resistant to change, it may cause project delay and low morale. So overall, when structure, strategy, and culture are well managed, they directly improve project results and teamwork. Lastly, let's look at the root cause analysis, understanding the real reason behind project problems. When a project faces issues like stakeholder conflict or slow progress, people often blame poor plannings or team performance, but in many cases, the real cause is deeper. For example, if team members do not know who to report to, it might be a structural issue. If employees are not motivated, it might be caused by organizational culture. If a project does not deliver value, it might not have been aligned with the company's strategy in the first place. That's why we say, don't just fix the surface problem, fix the internal system that caused them. In conclusion, understanding strategy, structure, and culture help organizations improve how projects are selected, planned, and managed. That's all from me.
Now I will talk about how the project management is applied in the real-world companies, especially in the context of Industry 4.0. We explore two case studies during the section. The first case involved a major electronics manufacturing company. So the company adopted the smart manufacturing, integrating IoT sensor and artificial intelligence to monitor the product quality in real time. And this required a matrix structure where both functional managers like those from IT and production and the project manager share the authority. The project also involved managing both internal teams who needs to be retrained and external technology vendor. A project management office or PMO played a critical role in overseeing the progress, maintaining timelines and ensuring that the technology align with the company broader strategy goals. And for the second case study, will be focusing on the delivery companies that migrated its supply chains to the cloud-based system. So the team will be facing the challenges as some employees struggle with the digital tools. To manage this, the company applied a SWOT analysis to identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats like cybersecurity risks. And they also emphasize the change management to support the employee through the transition. In addition to case study, participants learn about the key project management tools and organizational framework. They were introduced to tools such as stakeholder analysis to identify the key individuals or groups and assess their level of influence. And for the second is Gantt chart. It's for scheduling and tracking the project timeline. Risk checklist is to anticipate and plan for the potential challenges. And of course, SWOT analysis is for strategy decision making. We also discuss three types of organization structure, which is functional, where the work is managed by department head, and project, where project operate independently, and metric, where combine both models. Additionally, we examine the roles of the project management office or PMO. So there are three types. First is supportive, which offer guidance and the templates. Second one is controlling, which enforce standards and compliance. And last one is directive, which direct manage project and allocate the resources. To conclude, several key lessons emerge from the section. First, the project management should always align with the company's long-term vision, not the short-term goals like deadlines or budget. And the strategy alignment is what determines the real success. And for the second one is to understand and managing the stakeholder expectation is critical. Whether it's client, team members, or external partner, knowing how to engage them can reduce the resistance and improve the collaboration. Third is to recognizing an organization internal culture can make it easier to implement change and gain the support. And lastly, we emphasize that even without a formal PMO, companies and even the individuals can benefit from applying structured project management practice tools like SWOT chart and Gantt timelines are not just useful in businesses, but they're also valuable for the personal planning and productivity. So in summary, this section provides both real-world examples and practical tools that participants can apply directly in the workplace or personal project.
In this part, we will be diving into the work breakdown structure, which is WBS, and the responsibility assignment matrix, RAM. These two essentials that help us to plan, execute, and manage our teaching section effectively. So let's start with the work breakdown structure. This WS actually help us break down the entire teaching section into 7 major phases. First thing is planning, script writing, visual design, hosting delivery, technical setup and platform support, marketing, and lastly is closing phase. So each phase was further divided into smaller manageable tasks. For example, Ziki, we define our learning objective, mapped content, and assigned roles based on each member's strength. We also use tools like Google Calendar to track the deadlines and meeting, ensure everyone stay aligned. In script writing phase, co-led by Ziki and Jalil, we as a team member develop a structure and engaging script. We include interactive elements to keep included interactive elements to keep the audience involved and ensure the tone was both professional and approachable. Next is visual and design phase. Kin Hong and Kai Xiang focus on creating visually appealing slides. They choose readable fonts, colors, and consistent layout to ensure the clarity. The goal is actually to support the message without overwhelming the audience, and also to attract the audience by presenting our slides. Next is hosting delivery phase. Each member actually had a speaking role. We contribute transition smoothly to maintain the audience focus and ensure their dynamic presentation. In case the speaker is cannot available on during the presentation, for example having technical issues, then we will having the backup host to present immediately without any disruption or without stop the presentation. For the technical setup, Anushri and Jala may manage the Google Meet platform, handle screen sharing and resolve any technical issues quickly. For example, as I said mentioned earlier, the backup host was also prepared to ensure continuity. In the marketing phase, Kia Hong and Kai Siang create posters, registration form, and send reminders via email and WhatsApp to boost the attendance of the students of other universities. Finally, in the closing phase, Yi Kai and led the feedback collection using Google Form and organized a team review meeting. We compiled all the materials into a final report for documentation and for the future reference. So now let's move on to the responsibility assignment matrix, which is called RAM. So the RAM actually complement by the WBS to clearly defining who is responsible, accountable, consultant and informed for each task. This structure also was inspired by the Rachi model. For example, in the planning phase, ZK was both responsible and accountable. During script writing, Ziki and Jala took the lead while others consulted or informed. Visual design was led by Kai Hong and Kai Siang, with ZK consulted for the alignment. And for the technical setup was handled by Jala and Anushri, ensuring smooth platform operation. Marketing was split between Kai Hong and Kai Siang, with ZK consulted for consistency. And the lastly is Yikai was responsible for the closing phase, including feedback and report compilation. This clear division of roles help us avoid confusion, ensure accountability and promote effective teamwork among the team members. Last but not least, we are developing the integration of WBS and RAM. These both actually allow us to manage the session with precision. Every task had a clear owner and every phase was executed smoothly. This structure approach not only helped us deliver a successful section but also foster a strong sense of ownership and collaboration among team members. Thank you. Now we will move on the next section.
So I will continue again for the next part, which is 6.1 options considered. In planning our online teaching sessions, we discuss out 6 methods to carry out the online teaching sessions, which is option 1, traditional lecturer base. This options is the prompt is simple to organize, easy to reshare, and time efficient. But the con is passive learning experience, limit student participations. Yeah. So for the option 2 is discussion based formats. The prompt is high interactive, promotes student collaborations and critical thinking. But the cross is challenging to manage in a virtual environment, especially with 16 minutes time frames, risk of technical issues or student going off topics. And the third option is a balancing approach. The prompt is combining structure and interactions. There's good balance of lecture and discussions, but the prompt is require careful planning, skilled facilitations, and more time for transitions. The next part is 6.2, the proposal solutions. So after the filter discussion in our management teams, we decide use the traditional lecturer-based format to carry out our online teaching sessions. So in our management team, we'll send the 2 speaker to teaching the topics through the well-designed PowerPoint slide with diagrams to support explanation and maintain audience focus. By avoiding complicated transition or group activities, we ensure a consistent pace and minimum technical disruption. To ensure student involvement, we allocated time at the end for a Q&A session, which is our coordinator Q&A will giving some questions to the students, and the students are giving the answer to our Q&A coordinator. And this flows we use the work breakdown structures and the responsibility assigned matrix to ensure each team member had to define rules covering content creations, delivery, text settings, and feedback collections. The next is 6.3 justification. So we choose the traditional lecture format is because it is based on survival key consideration to maximize clarity, efficiency, and accessibility. And the first point is time limit and topic coverage. With only 60 minutes, the lecturer format allows the teams to efficiently cover all planned content without interruption from unscheduled interactions. And next is the clarity and cohesion. Each speaker covers specific sections, ensuring smooth transitions, avoiding repetitions, and keeping the sessions logically structured. Next is audience familiarity and accessibility. Most students were already familiar with actual style e-learnings. It required no extra software, reducing the chance of confusions or droppers. The next is fewer technical issues. The simple structure minimizes risks like technical breakdowns, unnecessary interactions, tools, or pool-based disruption. Next is academic rigor and professionalism. A former lecturer made it easier to explain complex ideas like POS models, and strategy alignment in a focused academic tones. And last is a scalability for future use. The approach can be reused or adapted easily for future sessions with minimal charge to material or technical statistics.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to walk you through our project teaching sessions on project management concepts, how we plan it, what happened during the sessions, what we learned, and how we can do better next time. So first, the plannings. Our teams spend quite a bit of time preparing because we did not want it to be just boring theory sections. We want it to be practical, easy to follow, and actually useful for students. We chose to do it online using Google Meet, which lets us connect with students from different universities in Malaysia. Our main audience was undergraduate students from Warriors Malaysian University, most of them studying project management or business. But since they came from different backgrounds, we knew that not everyone would be at the same level. Some students had learned about strategy and culture before, while for others it was totally new. So we had to make sure our sessions was beginner friendly, but still had interesting insight for more experienced students. The variety of students actually helps, especially when we talk about organizations' cultures. Everyone could share different views and experience, and that made the discussions richer. And the sessions was presented by Mr. Chin Kian Hong and myself, Chan Kai Xiang, while Ms. Anu helped as the Q&A moderators. We use slide, image, and real-life example to explain key topics like what is corporate strategy, different types of organization structure like functionals and metrics, and how culture affect project teams. We also share tools like source templates and stakeholders map that students could download and use in their own projects later on. To keep things interesting, we mix presentation with group discussions, use some case study, and try to make everything as visual and clear as possible. We had 6 main goals for what we wanted students to learn. The first is understand corporate strategy, how it connects to project planning and decision making. And the second goal is compare different organization structures and see how they affect teamwork and communications. And the third goal is be aware of cultural differences and how they influence decision making and team behaviors. And the fourth one is to know how to manage stakeholders, who they are, what they want, and how to handle them. And the fifth goal is understand what a PMO, project management office, is and how it support projects. And the last one goal is apply theory to real situations, basically be able to use what they learn and actual project scenarios. After the sessions, we took time to think about how it went, and we also got some feedback. Here is what we found. Honestly, we learned a lot, not just about teachings, but also about project management itself. Preparing the sessions help us really understand how strategy structures and cultures are all connected, not just theories, but how they work together in real life. We also improve our own project management skills while doing this, especially teamwork, time management, and communications. And during the Q&A, we got some really interesting questions from students from different universities, which gave us new perspective too. And of course, the sessions was not smooth as we want. We had a few challenges. The first is internet issues. Some students had bad connections, which affected the flow. The second is keeping attention during online. It's harder to engage people virtually because some students were multitasking or quiet. And the third one is the different knowledge level. We had to balance between explaining basics and not boring the experienced students. And the fourth one is time was short. 1 hour was not enough to go deep and still leave time for discussions. And the last one is language and cultures. We had to be careful with how we explain things so everyone could follow along. So here is how we plan to improve our future sessions. The first suggestion is test the technology in advance. We have to make sure everything runs smoothly before we start. And the second one is break content into small chunks. Maybe we can make it easier to follow and keep attention better. And the third one is send material before the sessions, so the student have some background before joining. And the fourth one is have more times. Maybe we make it a 2-hour sessions or split into 2 parts. And the last one is use assessment like short quizzes or feedback forms to measure the learnings.
In conclusion, there are 4 keys take away from the session. The first one is strategy, structure, and culture are interdependent and wider in project success. The second one is organization structure affects governance, resources allocation, and support. The third one is organization culture shapes collaboration, problem solving, and risk taking. The last one is project strategy alignment ensure meaningful outcomes. To achieve this element, future project manager must develop a strategy mindset and understand their organizational context, and also mastering the link between strategy and structure and culture to boost project success. This session rich theory and practice, empowering students to lead impactful context awareness project. That's all from us. Thank you.